Hey there. I've got something exciting to show you guys. Yeah. I'm Glenn Morris from the Smart Energy Lab, and I do these unboxing videos on stuff that arrives at the lab, stuff that we get to test, that we install here and get to really understand how it works. This is a product from a company called MyPV. Now, MyPV, I've known them for a long time, probably close to a decade now, because they make these amazing controllers for hot water heating. And not just hot water, but basically other resistive elements as well. Their products have been pretty much indoor rated, really designed for more of probably the European market, where you've got a boiler in your basement and you might have a controller down there. But in Australia, we often put our hot water services outside. So what they've done is they've made an IP54 controller, which can divert surplus energy, and it can also from a solar panel into your hot water tank. But unlike most of the diverters, which you've probably seen some on this channel before already, this one's DC, so it actually puts DC power into your tank. That's pretty cool. It means it's completely independent of the grid, doesn't affect your grid connection, your allowance in terms of inverter power. Yeah, it's all about putting DC from your solar panels straight into your battery. So let's just have a quick unboxing and check it out. So it's got a little tear tab here. Oh, here we go. Whoa! Wow, that is pretty awesome. Now, in here, we'll do the main event last. What do we got? Some lovely documentation. Now, I do like an actual manual. Look at this thing. It's in several languages, nice pictures, and there's a few more. So we've got, this is the English one. We've got French, Italian, Austrian, some other flags that I'm not familiar with, and the English one. We also have, very nicely, a cloth here, made in Austria. It is a nice little cloth. Now, let's see what's this about. There we go. Well, when you have hot water, you like to keep clean. So here you go, a little bath towel just to remind you that the water that's being heated in your home is from MyPV and hangs up on your shower. That's a nice touch. What else we got in here? Another little box of tricks. We've got some sensors, so thermocouples. So there's a thermocouple here, no doubt for measuring the temperature of the tank. That's the thermocouple. Got some screws. We've got a bunch of connectors, PV connectors. We've got a pen, because you can actually edit the settings on the screen, because it's a touch screen. We've got a Wi-Fi antenna, because this unit has Wi-Fi built in. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And something to hold the pen with, and some terminal blocks, and a few wall screws and wall anchors. All right, put those back in. Now, let's get the big unit out. And when I say big, it actually is physically quite a bit bigger than the indoor units. So this is the hot water. Well, it's actually more than hot water. I keep calling it hot water because that's kind of what I mostly think about using it for. But it can have solar connected. So it's got two inputs, but they're, I believe they're 1 MPPT, but there's two inputs, so it can have quite a high current. We'll get to those settings in a minute. And also can have AC boost as well. There's a port for a Wi-Fi antenna, and there's a on-screen touch display, so you can actually use the pen and program the unit from here. You can also program it remotely from the cloud and from a LAN, so it's got a lot of connectivity. So let's have a little look at some of the features here. I made a little list to keep me abreast of all those features. So it uses DC power straight from solar panels to heat water. That's the big difference. There is no AC connection required to heat the water. Great for off-grid, because off-grid It's pretty difficult to use your conventional AC diverters in an off-grid situation because there is no export for them to try and capture. But with this, you have dedicated panels that are dedicated to heating your water or other resistive elements. So that's a big plus. And therefore, there's no requirement for a grid feed-in or export control. It's got a 3.6 kilowatt linear power control. That means it can ramp up and down up to 3.6 kilowatts of output power. That's DC, remember. And it modulates it from 0 to 3.6 kilowatts, depending on the amount of renewable energy coming off the panels. It tries to match the heating power precisely to the available generation, and therefore you can get something like 100% self-consumption of your renewables going into your hot water tank, as long as you use the hot water every day. So that's a good thing. And because it's DC, it's very, very efficient. So almost every watt goes into your hot water. There's no very, very, very little efficiency losses in a DC conversion system like this. No grid approvals or utility permissions required because this is completely an off-grid system. Even if you're on grid, the unit itself doesn't need the grid. And it's powered from PV, so the display comes on. It doesn't need AC power for powering the display at all. And it's really ideal for rural, off-grid, and grid-constrained sites. Why do I say grid-constrained? Well, you might have a limit on how much capacity for instance, solar inverters that you can connect to your home. You might be limited to 5 kilowatts. And if you wanted to sort of heat water as well, you'd have to take some of that AC power from your solar inverter to heat water. But when you've got a dedicated DC system, independently of any existing solar, no problem at all. So really good. It does what's known as stratified tank heating. So it can, with the resistive element, the water at the top of the tank is hotter. And in fact, hot water virtually floats on the cooler water. It's kind of like oil. It's pretty amazing how it works. It's got an alternative control too. It's got 2 heating elements. So you could actually use it for heating something else as well, like a space heater, or 2 elements in the tank, a top element and a bottom element. So in Australia, we often have larger tanks with a boost at the top and a sort of the main heater towards the bottom, so it can actually use both of those. You can, even though I said it doesn't need the grid, you can have what's called grid backup. So it can provide AC power to your hot water element when there isn't enough solar, just to guarantee that you always have enough hot water. So the AC input can be enabled purely for temperature assurance. That means you guarantee of 60 degrees, whatever you set it to in the tank, even if there's not much sun. That's really great. It's retrofit friendly. So, if you've got an existing hot water service that's got a resistive element, this can retrofit to it. You don't have to change your tank. It's not a whole new purchase. So it's compatible with standard electric hot water tanks. Like most electronics, you probably want to keep it out of direct sunlight. It does have a heatsink on the back here because it will be dissipating some heat at full power, so it needs to have a certain amount of space around it. That'll be in the instructions to maintain ventilation. And it's got a wall mounting bracket here at the back that you can screw to the wall and clip it on. The integrated color touchscreen, yes, this little tiny screen, it's really nice. It shows you real-time information and things like temperature of the tank, and also whether you're connected to Wi-Fi or not, or the cloud. And it's got a whole bunch of settings that you can adjust inside here, including some really clever stuff. You can get it to operate based on things like frequency and voltage, time of use, all sorts of configurable options. So that display gives you live temperature, power level, and system status just at a glance. Very intuitive, easy to set up. Now, it's communications ready. What do I mean by that? Well, they've thought of everything. It's got Ethernet, like LAN. It's got Wi-Fi. Remember I said there's a Wi-Fi antenna here. It's got RS485 for integration with other monitoring and control systems. So it's a very flexible unit when it comes to communication. So the core technology, let's run through those specifications. So in terms of the solar DC input, the input voltage range is from 30 to 230 volts DC. It's got a maximum power point tracking range of almost the same, of 30 to 220 volts. So I mean, basically from, well, maybe not one panel, maybe 2 panels, up to 10 will be great. The start voltage is 36 volts. As long as the PV gets over 36, and you're off. The maximum input current is 26 amps, and that's current limited. So even if your panels can put out a bit more, it'll just trim it to 26 amps because after all, an MPPT, which is what's built into these, is the thing that drives your solar panels. It determines the amount of power they produce. It's got a short circuit current rating on the DC input of 32 amps, so it'll cope with larger panels, or if you're using both inputs, that'll be 17 amps per input maximum short circuit current rating. So typically 1 to 10 modules. Now one module would be a bit light on, but there you go. Now it has one MPPT tracker, like I said before, but 2 inputs because they're paralleled, and that gives you more flexibility. These are MC4 compatible type connectors, and as I said, they came in the box already, so that's great. In terms of the heating output power, this can put out from 0 to 3.6 kilowatts or 3,600 watts in a linear fashion. It's got 2 heating outputs, and they're alternatively controlled. There's also automatic thermal protection in high temperatures. So we've had some really high temperatures here in Victoria recently, 45 degrees or so. If this gets really, really hot, it'll just protect itself by derating. Now that AC backup, which is an optional choice, you don't have to have it, is single phase, 230 volts, wide frequency range, 45 to 65 hertz. So if you've got really poor frequency regulation, it'll still work with a maximum AC heating power of also 3.6 kilowatts. The self-consumption mode, which is when it's in AC, is approximately 2 watts. So, when it's connected to AC, it's almost nothing. It has a 16 amp fuse to protect the AC side, type B. When it comes to interfaces and sensors, like I said, it's got Ethernet via an RJ45 plug, Wi-Fi via antenna, RS485 via comms connections, 2 potential free relay outputs. So you can program this to turn other stuff on and control things. And up to 3 external temperature sensors. You might want to measure top of tank, middle of tank, something else, ambient, who knows. One external temperature sensor is supplied with a 5-meter cable, so that's really, really handy. When it comes to mechanical, IP54, suitable for temperature ranges from -20 to +60, that'll pretty much do Australia. And this little unit here weighs 2.95 kilos, probably the lightest MPPT you've ever had to stick on a wall. pretty good. It comes with a 2-year warranty. So I'm really excited. We're going to install this on one of the homes here at Murrumbidgee, where the Smart Energy Lab is based, and that's going to be a real application of this product. So thanks very much to MyPV for sending this to test it out. Anyway, check it.